The Democratic Alliance in the Free State says it hasn't started coalition talks just as yet. The party is second to the ANC in that province. As votes continue to be counted, the ANC has passed the 50% margin. ENCA's Pulelechwiti Jones has more on that story.
In the Free State, the ANC is ensuring that it can lure some of those voters just before the deadline, but the DA is ensuring that it can give the party its chase for its money, and of course, they get more seats in the provincial legislature. Joining me now is Dr. Annalie and the chairperson caucus within the DA in the Free State. Dr. Annalie, thank you very much for joining us on ENCA. Now, quite a hotly contested political, event happening in the Free State, but you're not letting it go. You're sitting at number 2, and of course, you'd want to actually ensure that once you get that opportunity, you ensure that there is an acceleration of service delivery as well.
Absolutely, and I think at this point, what we're seeing in the results, and I must say it is early days, we are quite satisfied. I think at this point, the predictions are in Mangaung that we could get the ANC to 50% or even below 50%. And then, yes, interesting developments after that. The DA is performing well. We're performing well in places such as Machabeng, in certain smaller places. So overall, we're quite satisfied. And obviously, our main goal is to, if we can govern, we will bring service delivery.
Let's talk about the coalition talks. In an event whereby you don't get outright majority, has that been opened up for an option to actually partner with some of the parties coming just right under you?
Our position is that we will only look at coalitions after the final results are known. So we're not talking about coalitions at this particular point. And then we will look at talking to parties that share our values. And we're very strong on the fact that it must be a party that appreciates our view on non-racialism, on the rule of law, on the social market economy, constitutionalism. So those are the things that we will be looking at.
Dr. Annalie, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, there you go. The DA not yet conceding to the fact that they will be going into coalition talks, but have outlined some of their policies if that were to happen. But they're quite confident that for as long as the political, event isn't done and the vote counting isn't done, they're quite confident that they will be getting some of those seats and numbers in the provincial legislature here in the Free State.
Results keep coming in across the country, with the IEC expecting 90% of votes to be counted by tonight. Let's go to the Eastern Cape in Gqeberha to get the latest from that province. Reporter Govan Whittles is monitoring the results and he joins us now. A little bit dark there, Govan, but good to see you as always. What's the latest?
Well, right now, counting continues here in Gqeberha for the Nelson Mandela Bay municipality, and it's very different to 2016. I was here then, and the vibe was certainly much livelier, with political parties all stationed at their desks and hoping to get a glimpse of the results as they trickle in. At the moment, the IEC's website shows that it's still 22%, with the ANC still recording about 42% and the DA 39%. But we spoke to the IEC a bit earlier, and they said that at least 65% of the ballot has been captured. And what we'll show you now is what the IEC prepared here at the Feather Market Hall in Nelson Mandela Bay. You'll see some of the flags of the political parties, as well as some of the photos of the independent candidates who were contesting this election. And the presiding officer, or the manager of this counting facility here of the IEC, has said that he put the pictures up there because he wasn't sure whether the independent candidates would come here to check the results, and wanted to give them a chance to face the people if they may gather. In 2016, Tony, there was a lot more people here. In fact, it was Ethel Trollope at that time who was the Nelson Mandela Bay Metro candidate for the DA, and he addressed scores of supporters outside after having won the election, essentially being able to form a coalition government. Right now, you could see it's empty here, and there are no political parties here, no party agents that are here to track the results, even though 65% have been captured. And essentially what we're waiting for is the auditing process. We've heard that the results that have been captured need to go through that process, and the next time the IEC's app, which is tracking the results and putting them out there, updates, it will be showing the results, which include all 65 percent of the votes that have been captured. So there is still a lot of counting to do in Nelson Mandela Bay, but the staff behind me have been going since the count started. They've been working in shifts. They're not stopping, and they'll be here until it's done. Tony.
The latest count when we were looking at Nelson Mandela Bay was ANC at 43%, the DA 38%. I mean, the DA really, you know, they put a lot of money into Nelson Mandela Bay. You know, what went wrong for them?
Well, it's too early to say if anything went wrong, because that's just 22% of the vote, and once that app updates again with 65%, it might be a much clearer picture. And all projections are that the DA could form a coalition government here and continue their governance of Nelson Mandela Bay through the mayor, Ngaba Banga. And it's important to note that the wards that haven't updated on the app are towards the western side of Nelson Mandela Bay and include areas where the DA has traditionally performed very well, although the ANC also expects its support to increase or remain stable. At least it expects better than 2016. But from what we've seen so far, the ANC is on track for another poor performance, as its voter base doesn't appear to have come out to the extent which the party had hoped for. So it's not over for the Democratic Alliance, not by a long shot, and it looks like they may be able to still keep the city if that next update on the IEC's app is in their favor. Sonny.
I mean, when you were just panning the camera around, I saw there was a table there for the UDM. I mean, just talk to me a little bit about the small parties. You've got AIM is also there, DOP is also there. Nothing much happening for those smaller parties. EFF a little bit earlier on was 7.5%. Maybe that may rise a little bit, but it's really between the ANC and the DA, isn't it?
It's been a very poor performance for the UDM, especially after it invested so much in contesting in new areas, such as the northern areas. And that really was a battleground for this election, with a number of smaller parties emerging there to contest essentially a DA voter base. But as we saw in Bethelsdorp, which is a big ward, in an area where the good party, the Patriotic Alliance, the Northern Alliance, invested a lot of money and time campaigning, the Democratic Alliance still won that ward, proving that it still has a solid and loyal voter base in that area. And I have to tell you, Tony, it's making the other parties a little nervous. Before the election, they had big expectations for what they call the colored areas, but now they say they would be happy with 1 or 2 wards. And it looks like they might go into council with just 1 or 2 seats, with the DA maintaining the real commanding authority as perhaps the leader of the coalition party. But I did speak to some of the smaller parties a little bit earlier on. They talked to me about their complaints and what's gone on voting day. Let's have a look at what they had to say.
There are a couple of issues that we picked up, especially yesterday, whereby I had to be on the ground leaving this place in order to go and find out more information from presiding officers. One of those is our voters have been turned away. They've went into the voting station to register. It's either they do not appear there now, or they're just not on the voters' roll. So
what's the scale of that problem?
It was quite across the metro, because I received calls from Utenake, Dispatch, the northern areas, of similar problems. And the problem is that there is no quicker way of resolving these matters when they come up. It's like the IEC was never ready to deal with such problems, of which in an actual fact, when people, like for instance, if another problem was a problem of network, whereby the machines were not working, it's the same problem that had occurred during registration, but there was no mechanism whereby it should be kept this time around.
Considering all the challenges that the IEC had, the results are coming in relatively quickly. So hopefully by tonight we'll be able to call this election, and we're looking forward to calling it a blue election result.
Okay, we're all waiting to see which way it's going to swing. Govan Whittles, thank you so much, and we'll catch up with you a little bit later there.